I'm not going to resign. I'm going to stay focused on protecting our kids. No United States attorney was fired for improper reasons, and that's the message that I'm going to deliver to the United States Congress. Thank you very much.
Well, Mr. Gonzalez was out protecting the kids. The presence of his former chief of staff was being cordially requested on Capitol Hill. The Senate Judiciary Committee asking Kyle Sampson to voluntarily submit the testimony before them next Thursday. Mr. Sampson's lawyer asking for more time to read all the emails released by the Justice Department, and also because of the possible release of further emails, saying in a letter to the committee that, quote, "We believe it would be unreasonable and counterproductive to expect Mr. Sampson to furnish testimony before he has had an opportunity to review and analyze the full documentary record, which may be critical to refreshing his recollection of the matters under examination by your committee." As far as the White House, the Senate Judiciary Committee authorized subpoenas for 3 aides, Karl Rove, Harriet Myers, and her former deputy, William Kelly. Though, like the House, the Senate is to actually issue those subpoenas. In an attempt to stop that yes vote, former Chairman Arlen Specter offered 2 alternative suggestions to the committee, first submitting to the White House offer, leaving open the possibility of future action if the off-the-record interviews were unsatisfactory, even though the White House deal specifically states that no subsequent subpoenas would be allowed. Second option from Mr. Specter, potential compromise, suggesting that perhaps White House officials could testify in public, but not under oath. Why not have them stand on their heads, sir? Both suggestions were rebuffed by the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, citing the president himself.
If we don't like what we get, we can always issue a subpoena and move with a subpoena if we don't like what we get. But why not take what we can get in the interest of
what we're told we can get is nothing. We're told that we can have a closed-door meeting with no transcript, not under oath, limited number of people, and the White House will determine what the agenda is. That, to me, is nothing. And why waste our time bidding against ourselves when they've already said no? I mean, the president said this is what the Senate must do, or nothing else, and it doesn't leave much room.
Rejections in news conferences don't count.
You get when's the president of the United States? When's the president of the United States take it? I take the president at his word.
Rejections eyeball to eyeball count. Rejections in news conferences don't count.
It is unclear if or when Senator Specter might get any eyeball-to-eyeball opportunities with this administration, but as he anticipated, his offer was indeed rejected by the White House in its daily news conference.
Arlen Specter suggested another version of the deal today, which is, he said, testimony that would be open to the public with a limited number of senators and with a transcript, but no oath.
I don't, again, our offer is our offer, and we know that Senator Specter is trying to play a constructive role here.
Wait. Is that a no?
Yes, it's a no.
But why? You say you're open to compromise. In what way?
I didn't say we were open to compromise. I said we opened with a compromise.
As promised, we're joined now by the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Senator Patrick Leahy of Vermont. Great, thanks for some of your time tonight, sir.
Glad to be with you, Keith.
With the subpoena authorization, Senator, are the gauntlets thrown down? Is there any chance for compromise at this point still?
Well, my basic interest is to get the information, get the truth, find out what happened, but get it before the American public. The White House has said they'll let some of these people come up, but only behind closed doors, with no transcript of what they say, not under oath, a limited agenda, and limit who's even going to be there. And that's a non-starter. This is I realize U.S. attorneys serve at the pleasure of the president, but the U.S. justice system does not serve at the pleasure of either this president or any other president, and we intend to find out just what happened.
The Democrats on your committee sent a letter to the White House counsel, Mr. Fielding, asking him whether the president's offer is utterly non-negotiable. Have you gotten a response to that?
Have not. I mean, the president has said this not negotiable. Mr. Snow has. We're going the extra mile to make sure that's so. If it's not, fine. That's his position. We will start hearings next week. We've already notified Mr. Gonzalez's former chief of staff to come in. And we have a subpoena. I would hope he'd come voluntarily, but the position I take, every one of these people can come voluntarily, but they don't. I will subpoena them.
Do you have any expectation on Mr. Sampson? There's a lot of discussion of voluntary appearance or perhaps postponing his appearance. Is there any indication of whether he's going to come in voluntarily?
Well, I would hope he would. I have not heard back from his attorney, and they have some conflicts in their scheduling. I'm willing to move it around a little bit to accommodate him. But there's an awful lot of people we have to hear from. He's certainly a key one. A lot of people point the finger at him, and he's saying, hey, wait a minute. I'm not going to be a scapegoat here. Well, let's hear it out. Let's have both Republicans and Democrats ask him questions in open hearing. Let's find out what's going on. You know, I don't want to I have a lot of other things before the Judiciary Committee. I'd like to get this wrapped up as soon as I can.
With that kind of level of speed required with the other commitments for the committee, you have the authority to issue the subpoenas to Mr. Rove and Harriet Myers and to her former deputy, Mr. Kelly. Are you holding that bullet back in the gun in hopes that the White House is going to budge, or how long can you hold the actual issuing in the gun?
I can hold these throughout this Congress, which is almost 2 years to go, but I will, they're not the first people I want to have testify anyway. I want to hear from some of these other people. We have Attorney General Gonzalez coming up next month. We have Ms. Sampson coming. We have some others. So far, nobody's asked for a subpoena, although I have subpoenas for all these people, and will subpoena them if necessary. I know that the director of the FBI, others are coming. So we have a number of key witnesses coming. And frankly, if I was the White House, I think I'd rather have my people come in and testify first rather than be at the end when there's a long record. You know, the reason I want to do it under oath, remember in the Valerie Plame thing, nobody had anything to do with this. Nobody outed her name. Nobody said she was a CIA operative. Nobody at the White House did, until suddenly people were under oath, and then we find, gosh, they did. It's amazing how that focuses one's attention.
Perhaps that's why there is an oath. I always wondered what the reason for it was, and I think you may have just underscored it.
You know, the thing is, thousands of Americans every day, all over this country, in courtrooms all over this country, stand up, proudly take an oath to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and then they do. That's why the justice system works, and that's why people expect you to. I just don't want to have these back room meetings where you get half the information, and 2 days later you pick up the newspaper or turn on the TV and find all the things that were left out. Let's just get it out. Let the American people see what's going on. Let Republicans and Democrats both ask the questions. I'll be very fair. I'll make sure that every Republican on the committee is allowed to ask any questions they want, as will every Democrat.
You mentioned the sequence of testimony of the witnesses. Your colleague, Mr. Schumer of New York, was with us last night, made a very interesting observation, I thought. He said that he hoped that the White House would let Mr. Rove and the others testify on the record, but that if they did not, there really were enough really angry career employees, prosecutors in the Justice Department who would ensure that this information, the actual facts of the case, would get out anyway. I'm wondering what we should infer from that. Are there rabbits in hats that you have that we don't know about?
Well, Keith, I was a prosecutor for 8 years. I've always tried to have a few witnesses holding back in case we need them, and I suspect we will have. You know, you're hearing a lot of things. We saw in the paper this morning, people saying, you know, we had a $130 billion case against big tobacco companies until the White House said, no, you can't hit them with any kind of a fine like that. That's awful. They're friends of ours. Cut it down to $10 billion. And in fact, a career member of the Justice Department was given a summation that she was required to read word for word. I've never known of a lawyer giving a summation to the court where somebody else wrote it and they had to read it. It's never happened in my experience. She's very upset about this. A lot of other people are.
Well, that leads to the final question, sir. I mean, is there any serious evidence at this point that suggests that the administration might not have been acting merely improperly, but in at least some cases illegally?
Well, that's what we want. That's what we want to find out. We know that at least one of these U.S. attorneys have been involved in high-profile cases against public officials. Actually sent one congressman to prison, and was looking at others. Why was this stopped? Was the next person told to continue? The investigations are told, if you want to keep this appointment, go a different way. These are things I want to ask. I mean, there are so many things. We've been given so many changing stories, and we've been talking to a lot of people already, and the stories keep changing. I'd like to get one story where we know what happened.
Hence the use of the oath. The chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Senator Patrick Leahy of Vermont. A pleasure, sir. Thank you for your time today.
Good to be with you, too.
This